Hello, this is me, JD James, and I thought I'd do a quick video about one of my computers. This is a Hewlett Packard Proliant, and it needs a graphics card, which I don't have. It's got 8 megabytes of integrated graphics. I can't use it without spending money on it. It has no SATA control on it. You have to buy a card for it and everything. And it's got a bulging cap. That one. And I had an idea about changing this power supply out and putting it in my Pentium D, which I've just set up right there. Can't you see it? But it has a different connector for that. But this one would go into my machine there, because that's a 2001 machine, and I'm thinking, well, it's getting a bit old, why don't I just change this one out? 2004-ish, it's younger, it's 350 watt, not 250, has this old connector on it. This is the 478 socket Pentium 4 Prescott with hyper-threading, and there's loads of these, but I only need the Molex, because the Pentium D would need a SATA power, and I ain't got a converter for this, like a plug connector thing. So I'm thinking, well, if this is, I don't use this machine, it needs £50–60 spending on it, and there's a capacitor that's going on it. So I might as well take the power supply unit, put it in the old Pentium 4, because it's getting a bit old and I'm not keen on running a 20-hour power supply unit. So it should fit in the Pentium 4, hopefully, in terms of a connector. I know it would work electrically because they have the same, it's all the same thing. So I'm going to try that. As for this Proliant, that thing, that capacitor bulging, that's like, oh no. Otherwise it is a very nice machine, but it needs things for it which I don't have. The graphics is too small, the 8 megabytes, can't do anything with that. And yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about my this little setup here, because I used to have a cupboard thing here. It was full of crap and I had to remove it. And I thought I could put my Amiga here, because I found this TV in the street about, when was it, last year? And I thought, well, I don't really use the Amiga that often, so it'd be a bit of a waste. So I put it with the Pentium D there. That's the old Dell Dimension 5150. And I can emulate the Amiga on it, which is a lot easier. And this has an issue with the Amiga. The physical Amiga has like a green shimmering thing going on with it, so that didn't quite work. So it was a really good monitor. That it's a television, 720p, and plugged it into there, and it's got a really nice picture. So that's what I'm doing with that. Put it on the floor because I haven't got else to put it, actually. Oh, these bloody cases. Who come up with this idea? Oh, it would be about right to change the power supply over in any case, because of the space. What have we got here? Well, it's one of these. And this is 2001. It probably would be fine, but I'm worried about running this because, I mean, it's a Willamette based Pentium 4. I changed the fan out years ago because the original one went funny. That's an Arctic, when there's an Arctic fan, that's a really nice quiet one. I think it might be time to change the power supply out. I'm not sure how it's going to... I'm not sure how you get that out with the... There's a thing there, but... Anyway, I just want to change it out. I'm sure it would work. I'm just wondering how the physical... How I'm going to fit it in here. But yeah, loads of these old Molexy type. Got a nice Maxtor. This hard drive came out of that Hewlett Packard because it had this in it. Maxtor 80 gig. And then it had two Western Digital Black Caviar, I'm not sure what it's called, and they were in a RAID array, and it was just for accounting. It was an accounting server that was thrown out from a business. And I saw one's in my Dell Optiplex 755. The other hard drive died, it went funny, I don't know why. And then this one's in it. So I thought, well, I've got this Dell, might as well use it. So that's what that is. Floppy drive, that came out of the Proliant because the other one went funny on this one, and I've got two opticals. That's the DVD-ROM that came with the machine and a CD rewritable. So I'll come back when I've taken that out. Oh, well, I might as well film me taking the screws out. Oh, it's one of them. It's one of them. Taking the screws out. I'm going to have to check internally on this because I don't know if the capacitors are bulged on this one. It's not been used in 2 or 3 years, so. So I'll take this out and then I shall. Oops. I have to open it up just because I don't want to put it in the Pentium 4 and then have it go pop because the PSU had both bulging caps. Okay, there it is. With all of its intestines. Well, I just looked it over and I can't see any bulging capacitors. There's a big one there, that's good. I'm not an expert on these things, but if they're bulging, then they're bad. And I'm looking and I'm not seeing any. There's a few there. They all look pretty good. I mean, the whole thing is like that, basically. But there's about 7 or 8 and they all look pretty good. So visual inspection, I'd say that passes because they all look pretty good. But yeah, 350 watt PSU. I just had it switched on for 10 minutes because it hasn't been on for like a couple of years. But it all looks pretty much in order, that does. Ugh. Right, I'm taking this out of the Dell. See what we can do with it. I'm worried about it fitting in the actual box, or if it's held by screws, that doesn't matter about the cable. There's like a little catch thing. But if it's screwed in, I don't think it really matters. Unplug all this bloody stuff here, haven't I now? One, two, three. There's a thing there. Comes up. Oh, mate, still plugged in. Oh yes, of course it is. And then I'm gonna have to take all this out here. Yeah, take that out. Wait a minute. Yeah, one thing I'm worried about on these machines is the age of the power supply unit. That's what I'm really worried about on these. Once they get old, they become unreliable. So unplug that. There it is, and that's it. It's gone back in there again, isn't it? Ugh. It's caught at the bottom of this thing here now. Right. So that's out. Now will it fit in there? Come on. so well, it will fit in the space. Oh no, what? I must have got it wrong. I've been an idiot. Oh, I was being an idiot. I thought it would. I did it the other way around. It was the other way around. Okay, so yeah, there it is. Actually, yeah. Right, I'm gonna. I'll have to plug it into. Wait a minute. I'm gonna have to put it in situ. I need to stand it up because I ain't got it near. All these PSUs, they're all the same thing effectively, but when they went to the Pentium D, the latter day Pentium 4s, they changed all the power supply units over for the different socket connector for the motherboard. So I did want to put this in the Pentium D, but it's got a different socket for the motherboard. So doing it one-handed. This is. Oh, it's busting my knees doing this.
Old computers need to be maintained, that's the thing. And they don't work forever unless you put money into them or change bits on them, so... This PSU sitting there doing nothing, I might as well swap it over because I'm going to use this for emulation or old school get. I can't get a bloody thing in. So I'm pointing out, putting it anyway. Then it is wise, when a machine of this vintage, it's 2001, this is like 19 years old this thing is, I don't know how old this thing is. It's wise to change the power supply just because it is. Right, so that's in. I've got to plug it. It's all bloody. What? Oh no! Wait a minute. I can see. What is this? That one, and it's got to go there. I'll come back when I've done all this.
I just pulled that off. It was like a thing. So that goes there, and then I'm gonna. Because I had to remove this cowl thing, which is what the... Apparently this on modern computers, all this bit is inside the processor now. This whole thing here, this thing, all that's inside the modern ones. That's weird. I saw a video on it, and someone said if that dies because it's soldered to the motherboard, you can't use the computer. I never thought of that. If that dies, then it's dead. Because it's not socketed, you can't just like swap that out. So I don't know, blame Dell or Intel for that. You bloody silly people doing what? If that goes, it's dead then, isn't it? Yeah, I need that lift out of the way because it's going to get hot. Just shove it to there. Oh damn! Wait a minute, that's get on there. That's good for you. I've got to put that in, haven't I? That would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, that is going to here. That's in.
So, right, so I've got all these Molex things. So I've got to plug them in here. So I can't see them doing it. In there. Ow! Yeah, I've got these, like, old school. It should work, I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't. Barring a catastrophe, of course. And then there's more of these. Oh, I'm going to have to cut that then because I'm going to get that out. Got a floppy. Yeah, I'll just put the PSU. That's the hard drive. Then we've got DVD, optical CD rewriter, floppy drive, and then hard drive. So that's about it, then, isn't it? These bloody things keep pinging. It's like. Right.
It's in. It's in. It's in. It's in. It's a bit messy. And I've got it screwed down. That bloody fan thing keeps coming off. Right, so I'm going to put this back together and then we're going to boot it up and see if it works.